The world is calling out for help. A pandemic has wreaked havoc on global economies and is expected to eliminate roughly 195 million jobs worldwide, per the UN's labor body. Protesters around the world are calling for police reform and an end to systematic racism. Many cities have faced substantial destruction from riots and looting. Deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon this past year has reached the highest level since tracking began in 2007. Experts estimate 440 billion tons of ice melted off Greenland's giant ice sheet last summer, enough to flood the entire state of Pennsylvania underwater about a foot. Between 4 and 12 million metric tons of plastic enter the ocean each year, enough to cover every foot of coastline on the planet. And that amount is expected to double in the next 10 years. The incident of human trafficking and forced labor is growing, with an estimated 40 million plus modern-day slaves globally. The top 3 destination countries of human trafficking activity are the United States, followed by China, then Italy. The answer must come from all of us. Over half of people around the world expect brands to play a more important role than governments in improving society. And millennials, set to inherit trillions in massive wealth transfer, expect the companies they buy from and invest in to contribute to the betterment of society and the planet. It's time to introduce social impact to showbiz. Set at the intersection of our current planetary and social crisis and reimagined future, Angels.Inc. explores the psyche, consciousness, and visions of social innovators. Our new reality series gives viewers a glimpse into the changemakers who give us hope, and impact investors, philanthropists, and corporations who support them. Imagine our panel of impact investors, philanthropists, and corporations will choose to support the companies with the greatest innovations to upgrade humanity. And together we will heal our world.
I need your help, and especially the young I'm talking to work together, put purpose ahead of anything, think intergenerational, implement projects at scale, and make sure that this world doesn't leave anybody behind.
The most important thing to really focus on, I think, for the audience here today is that it is really about consciousness. And consciousness and capital are the 2 most important things our species possess. So why is that important, and why does that have anything to do with Wall Street and money? If we don't put those 2 things together and work with those 2 things, the first being what motivates all our actions, and the second is this powerful tool called capital, then we are not going to get to a place our species needs to get. The good news is that when we do put those things together, all you need to do is make a shift and move those assets consciously into things that are doing good in the world.
Impact investing to us, whether it's in the public or private markets, really is the only viable solution that we can see right now that can help us solve the incredible great problems ahead of us. Angels is important because while advisors get to see a lot of data around companies doing bad, what they don't get to see is that there are a lot of companies doing really interesting, good, positive things that are actually profitable and making money because of that.
Hi, I'm Michelle Bongiovanni, and I'm the founder and creator of Angels.Inc. Angels.Inc. is a show that heralds the companies that are committed to people and planet, not just profit, at a time when our world needs this most. It's important that we as consumers learn to change our investment and consumption patterns to support the companies that align with our values. This special edition of Angels.Inc. COVID-19 brings you a glimpse into several companies who've pivoted during COVID-19 to support their communities and the world. Please join us for a show that creates hope and inspiration for a better future. It shows us how business can be a force for good.
Hi, my name is Kessie Gibson and I am the CEO and founder of Club Debut. Club Debut is a platform for independent fashion designers and creative professionals. It is predicated largely on my own experience as a designer building my brand Q by Kessie, as well as growing up in the manufacturing world. We launched Club Debut in the fall of 2019 on the premise that sustainable fashion can be both possible and profitable if the value chain is well constructed, if technology, primarily emerging technologies, are utilized effectively and efficiently, but most importantly, if the prioritization of the human experience is at the center of it all. So now fast forward a couple of months and we're now in March 2020. On March 1st, we kicked off our fundraising in New York, and we were probably about 8 meetings in when the world was completely thrust into chaos and disorder. Out of the challenges came new possibilities and opportunities. As with everything that we do here at Club Debut, we were first trying to solve a problem and also create an impact. Because we had just expanded the Bogota manufacturing facility, we were able to actually do so much more. We started in the medical PPE space, just creating items for donations to hospitals and healthcare facilities that were in and around, areas that were close to many of us. Eventually, we got orders, and that just kind of led to its own thing, as we were able to now become a provider to especially small medical facilities and healthcare providers who were not able to get their orders fulfilled in a timely manner with the bigger suppliers.
In the world's poorest communities, the cost of bottled water is out of reach, let alone education, nutritional programs, and electricity. But with a little technology and a whole lot of soul, H2 Open Doors can transition communities out of generational poverty in as little as a year.
Over the last 7 years, the H2 Open Doors project, it's a project of Rotary clubs throughout the world, has installed 33 water purification plants, each one providing 10,000 people with 2 liters of water every single day, virtually for the rest of their lives. That's 8 million liters of water, purified water, for a village. And we've done this in 11 different countries. The technology that we use is off-grid and clean tech. And it's robust enough so that the village can go in the business of selling water in 5-gallon, purified, sanitized, reusable bottles. And the money that they earn from that could be as much as $100,000 US year after year after year that must be used for their essential social services. So in effect, village by village, we're helping to create self-reliant villages and communities to which women are elevated, in a lot of cases, into the middle class within the first year. What this means is that no more do women have to walk for miles and miles to the water point and back with those 40 pounds of water on their heads. They can go back to school instead. They could raise their children more regularly. They can hire men, in many cases, to distribute the water to the huts, the homes, the schools, clinics, community centers. A complete distribution system for this water now is available in the places that we've been working. And in the charity model of Rotary International, 35,000 clubs throughout the world, we're able to do about 10 systems a year. And it's very impactful. But we want to be able to do hundreds of systems every month. The need is so great. So what we are doing is forming a public benefit corporation called Global Water First. that will use social impact investment dollars rather than donor dollars. And when we do this, women can be raised into the middle class within their very first year of the enterprise. Thousands can have access to water free of bacteria and viruses, and young men can be gainfully employed. You see, when you combine number 6 of the Sustainability Development Goals of the UN, number 6 is clean water for all by the year 2030, and you combine that with number 8, which is gainful employment for all by the year 2030, when you create water enterprises, it's a force multiplier because it has a positive effect on all 17 of the SDG goals.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. My husband Kim and I own Catering Solutions. We started our business 12 years ago, back in 2008, selling soups on Facebook. A few months later, we started our first school, which is our core business. We do a healthy school lunch program for daycares, preschools, private schools, even a few up through 12th grade. So we started providing lunch service, usually 2 items a day, 1 main entree, 1 vegetarian. And then 10 years later, we now offer over 60 different items every day. And we serve over 50 schools, over 700 children a day in a 50-mile radius from our kitchen in Raritan. We're just a super busy catering company until March of this year. We made the final decision that we needed to shut down. We pulled all of our drivers off the road. We contacted our schools, stopped service. After about a week of being home, we realized that this was not going to be a short-term situation. It was definitely a long-term, and our business was not going to be the same for a long time. Everyone was really busy providing meals for healthcare workers and reaching out to the hospitals, but something that was being overlooked was the homeless shelters. So we had lots of deli meats, lots of bread, lots of cheese, and we just started making sandwiches and using that all up to provide meals every day for a few different shelters in the area. We started a birthday box program for all the kids who were home that weren't getting to celebrate their birthdays, out and about with their friends. So if it was their birthday, their parents could order a cake. We would make a small cake just for 4 people, that's who was home, covered in sprinkles. I bought a helium tank and we put a balloon on it and we would deliver it to the door just to bring a little bit of cheer during some really dark days. Then we started private shopping. People didn't want to go to the grocery store. We were already going to the grocery store, so we started offering that service, and that is basically what we did all of April and the first half of May, just moving food out as quickly as we could. We checked the orders every morning. We got our drivers back working. They didn't have to go inside of any place. We kept our kitchen a little bubble. Drivers would come in, take the groceries, and just go out and start delivering, honestly, all over New Jersey. We were everywhere. But it was a roller coaster of emotions every day. There were people that were sick, people that tested positive, that didn't know how they were going to get food because they couldn't go to the grocery store and they didn't know if anyone was going to be willing to bring them food. We did hundreds and hundreds of meals, helped hundreds of people get groceries, and it was a great thing. But it wasn't enough anymore to sustain our business, so we had to evolve again. And we realized we have a restaurant. Our catering kitchen is an actual restaurant on the main street, which we just have never opened. So we created something called Lobster Alley. And so far, Lobster Alley has been a raging success. And that's definitely something that we're going to continue through the summer. So, we hope to get back to what we do best. The Healthy School Lunch Program is what we do. But this situation has definitely changed us forever. And it's definitely changed us for the best. The support that our community and our friends and family have provided us has just been phenomenal. We couldn't have done it without them.
Harmony is a family business in the truest sense. We are family owned and operated, and our own children and grandchildren are among our current population of students. My name is Lisa Forrester, and my company is the Harmony Schools. We're located in Princeton, New Jersey. But since we established the company in 1981, we've had as many as 6 centers in the central New Jersey area. I'm just relieved that I'm not managing 6 centers in the age of COVID. Child care centers were closed in New Jersey by Governor Murphy at the end of March, and we were allowed to reopen on June 15th if we were willing to follow a long list of new regulations. So we had already purchased as many disinfecting wipes, no-contact thermometers, face masks, and gloves as we could get our hands on. But accessing and purchasing enough PPE equipment wasn't our primary problem. Convincing parents that it was safe to send their children back to school was not an easy sell. One of the restrictions placed upon us limits group sizes to no more than 10 children, which eliminates 52 of our enrollment spaces. Upon arrival each day, children and teachers must have their temperatures taken and a series of questions must be answered before the child can be welcomed into school. We purchased plexiglass barriers so that the staff who are taking the temperatures and asking the questions are protected in the event that a child is ill. New regulations restrict the number of adults who can enter the building, and that includes parents. Parents have very limited contact with teachers this way, and trust with teachers is a cornerstone to our success. On the upside, some parents love the quick drop-off. We are certainly grooming a generation of children to have excellent hygiene, and we added a portable heated sink for the back porch so the children's hands are washed before they re-enter the building from the playground. The playground is disinfected as each group leaves before the new group of friends arrives. One of the tricky areas is wearing masks. Staff are required to wear them indoor and outdoor, and children over the age of 2 are encouraged to wear them. Some parents have expressed discomfort with their children wearing masks as they worry that their breathing is compromised. Some parents are concerned that the children can't tell when their teacher is smiling at them. So we have discussed how to use your eyes and your body language to communicate with children. And of course, as in all aspects of our lives, social distancing is taught and encouraged. Only a few children at each table for project and mealtime, and children spread out among learning centers during indoor playtime. The great news is that children and adults have all adapted beautifully.
DC is changing. It's changing very rapidly. A lot of culture, the very fabric of DC, is disappearing. I wanted to create a space that could hold on to some of that. We opened Busboys and Poets in 2005. We started out with one in the U Street corridor, and we've opened 3 more in Washington, D.C., one in Virginia and one in Maryland. People come here because they love the ambiance, they love the experience, they enjoy the poetry. We have a wonderful independent bookstore that we operate in all of our locations, which is a rare thing these days. But it's not enough to just tell people we have good poetry. It's not enough just to tell people we have good books. I had to make sure that the food was the hook. That's what people come for. We have really good food. People want to connect with one another as human beings. We break bread to get together. We meet each other for breakfast. We meet each other for dinner. I mean, food is part of our humanity. We wanted to transport that to people's offices and businesses to enjoy that same kind of experience and ambiance they have when they get here. We also have a wonderful bar. We have a place where people can hang out, sit on their Wi-Fi, and write the next great American novel. Busboys and Poets is named after the great poet Langston Hughes. He was working as a busboy while writing poetry, trying to get published. Langston Hughes was spectacular in his ability to keep the sense of hope and possibility in people. That's what poetry is. We can't give up on that.
Restaurant Roots, inspiring stories celebrating chefs, restaurant operators, and catering.
Hi, Angels.Inc. I'm Andy Shalal. I'm the CEO and founder of Busboys and Poets. We're right here standing in the Langston Room. This is one of our locations here in Washington, D.C. And we have been at the forefront of these issues that we are facing today, the Black Lives Matter issue, the equity issue, the social justice issue. This place was built with the idea of where racial and cultural connections are consciously uplifted. We are a place where art, culture, and politics comes together and collide. We are a place where people come here to take a deliberate pause and feed their mind, body, and soul. We believe by creating such a space, you can actually begin to transform a corner of a city, the city itself, and indeed the world. We have been turned upside down during this time of COVID, where we've had to do social distancing and prevent each other from gathering and being together. We are the opposite of that. But in order for us to continue, we have pivoted. We are able to make the changes necessary. Being that we have already been doing this stuff for a long time was an easy pivot for us, really, relatively speaking. We've always been talking about equity, we've always been talking about social justice, we've always been talking about race issues, so this is just an extension of what we've been doing. We've moved everything we do on that we did in place to move it online. So it's been very exciting to do these wonderful programs online. We have Actor, a continuing talk on race that we do every single Monday in collaboration with George Mason University and other organizations around. Talk about race, because that's the most important issue we need to talk about in America, whether it was today or whether it was a century ago. It's about time. And we've been doing it ever since. We also decided to do these uplifting messages on our windows called Paint the Storefronts, where we put a hashtag, Paint the Storefronts, and we painted these gorgeous murals of uplifting messages. We paid artists that otherwise would be sitting at home doing very little to be able to come out and really share their creativity and their beautiful messages to the world. And it's taken off like wildfires all over the city now, all over the DMV, and all over the United States. I've seen it in as far away places as San Francisco. So this has been an exciting time for us, a time of change. Change is going to bring us to a different level. It's not about just going back to normal, but it's really about creating that new normal that I think we've all been waiting for. So thank you so much, Angels Inc. I look forward to seeing you, and thank you again for keeping the lights on.
Angels Inc. is about business for good.